All right, how's everybody doing today? My name is Dominic and I'm reporting at you live. We're going to be having another very important business meeting today. Probably one of the most important business meetings we ever had. We had the chairman and CEO of Pioneer Power Solutions, ticker symbol PPSI. Nathan, how you doing today? Thanks for coming on the channel.
I'm doing amazing, Dominic. How about yourself?
Doing great, doing great. So let's start it out with a quick company history and a background about yourself.
Yeah, so the quick company history is the company went public end of 2009. We merged a transformer business that we had into a shell at that time, uplisted about a year later, made a bunch of acquisitions of a bunch of other transformer businesses, rolled them up, made some other acquisitions, an engine generator business in Minneapolis, switchgear business in Los Angeles. Um, About 6 years ago, we sold the transformer package, two big divisions that we had, to Mill Point Capital for $67 million. A little over a year ago, we sold the switchgear business for $50 million and took a 6% stake in the resulting platform called Volteras. Um, and today, basically, the business is we turned the engine generator business into what we call EBoost, mobile power. It started with all charging and generator, on-site power generation. Um, we've kind of morphed and, we continue to do the mobile charging, but now we're doing a lot of just straight up mobile power, pure energy, for all kinds of different applications. I've been in this business, for over 30 years. I don't like to count. Um, have created over 20, I stopped counting at 20 different platforms. Every segment of the electrical industry I've touched: distribution equipment, metering, safety switches, circuit breakers, switchgear, transformers. I can't, capacitors, can't list them all. Um, and this is what we're pushing right now, on-site mobile power.
Right. Okay. And then just for the viewers, I've been an investor in the company since I believe 2022 or something like that. And Nathan has agreed to come on the channel over the past few years, but I believe I was waiting for the right time, and I believe the right time is now. The time is now for Pioneer Power Solutions with the eBoost EV charging and everything that's going on. But let's talk about all the markets you guys serve and use cases for eBoost EV charging.
Yeah, so we look at it basically as three buckets right now. That's today. There's our what we call that to say that it's traditional is crazy because we started the e-boost business in 2021, but that's kind of our legacy business right now. We continue to push mobile charging, continue to fill the gap. Most of it is truck and bus related. Really don't do much, if any, for passenger type cars. And I'd say the big users right now are some form of government, not the federal government, but municipality, state, different tentacles of those kinds of cities, towns, counties, school districts that have made a decision to go electric either already or by a certain date and are pushing their school buses, transit buses, municipally owned vehicles to go completely electric, and so we're supporting charging those vehicles. The other area are the big kind of alpha private, well, they're not private businesses, but non-government type businesses, the Amazons, Walmarts, UPS, and people like that have made a decision to go electric. That ship has sailed. A lot of FedEx. A lot of these companies that I've mentioned have taken delivery of thousands of vans and electric vans and trucks and are having a charging issue, whether it's grid gap, whether they can't get enough power, whether they want mobile power, because they want optionality and flexibility, whether they're worried about emergency cases. Any and all of it is driving that particular market. So that's bucket one. Bucket two, is, we really didn't give it a name till at the end of this year, but it's basically packaged power solutions without charging. So there are users where they're industrial, commercial type users that want, for the most part, quick, deployable, mobile on-site power. Either there's also the same grid gap, they can't get enough power. They're expanding their businesses, whatever it is that they're doing. They're making machine parts, they're making drugs, they're producing chemicals. They want to expand their business, and they're big power users, can't get enough power, or they're the kind of a user that's expanding and has multiple locations and want the optionality being able to move a megawatt of power quickly for their own particular uses. So we call it Primus.
Okay.
Um, we could talk more about it afterwards. Data centers is clearly the biggest application of that, although there are many, many others. Um, and you could call it packaged power solutions. That's really what it is. The third is the home business. First time, really, almost in my career that we've gone into the residential side of the business. Came out. We originally called it Home Boost, renamed it Power Core. Is the only offering that I'm aware of that gives you a prime rated engine for the really large upscale type home, 100% resilience with a built-in DC fast charger running off your gas line.
Okay.
Those are the three buckets.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so let's talk about the recent news that you guys had. You just announced international expansion into Dubai with Savvy Charging in the UAE. Can you talk about that more?
Yeah. Um, International expansion has been something that, it's been out there for us for a long time. And we really, when I say we, me, I didn't act on it. Um, don't, it's a question of time, bandwidth. There's only so many things, so many parties that we can go to it, at one time. Um, we had a prior group right before, I guess, or maybe a couple of years ago before some of the things that were going on in the Mid East that kind of unsettled that. Those guys pulled back. Um, Savvy Charging has been after us for a couple of years now. The president of Pioneer eMobility, Gio Morican, to his credit, worked with them and came up with a franchise type model. Um, it's got all the elements that we need in order for it to make it worth our while. The Emirates is going electric. There's a lot of what I guess governmental propelling that. That's the plan that they want going forward, especially in Abu Dhabi and Dubai. Savvy Charging is a well-funded, well-heeled private business that is deep in charging right now.
Right.
On many different levels. So it's not like they're starting and they've got to, go get customers and things like that. Um, so we're starting them off with one unit. Hopefully we can ship the initial unit in the first quarter this now of 2026. They've already said, that's clearly not going to be enough for them this year, so that they want more. Um, and as we work out sort of the normal type of, I'm not going to reveal all the details of the agreement, but it's your normal type franchise type system. The support, engineering and design that we give them. They've got to buy certain things from us. There's an override, some profit sharing. So we're hoping that becomes the model to do others after this.
Okay, and then what model are they purchasing? Are they doing the EBoost mobile?
Yeah, so crazily, they're actually buying the original prototype that we
Okay.
that we built, the GOAT, the one that we did in November 2021,
Okay.
which our first one. We're upgrading it right now for their use, giving them a more updated, more powerful charger, giving the whole unit an overhaul. We've been using it as a demo traveling unit for ourselves. So they're going to start with that and see what type of units actually work for them in their market. And their market's not unitary either. There's Abu Dhabi, Dubai, those are the two big ones. And they don't both play the same way.
Okay. What model would you say is like the best seller, like out of all the contracts you guys had so far?
When people ask, it's a good question. If you ask me in 6 months from now, then the answer changes.
Right.
If you asked me the first year that we did it, I would have told you, it's a 400 kW system on an open trailer. If you asked me last year, I would have told you, the biggest one, the biggest mover of 2025 was the ones that we did for the Los Angeles Unified School District. So that was, 250 kW unit with 8 chargers hanging off the trailer. So it moves back and forth. I would say that it's either going big or it's on the smaller side, or it's on the smallest, which is 30 kW that we do. So they're either 250 something in between 250 and 400 or 400s. Very little now in the middle.
Okay. All right. Now let's go back to Power Core and Primus, and let's elaborate more on that and see what the growth will be for that for 2026.
Yeah, so Primus, we've been doing sort of packaged power solutions the last year without giving it any name or formal system. Uh, People have come, well, I got chargers, but I can't get enough power. So then we do what we were calling internally pure energy. All Primus is taking these kind of packaged power solutions that we're doing on an ad hoc basis, and we formalized it in a 1 megawatt type system with battery, all pre-engineered so that the user can then pick and choose, how much resilience do you want? You don't want battery, you don't want whatever. It's all at your discretion. I don't want them to spend more money or take on stuff that they don't need, but they're getting the benefit that we're keeping enough of these units in stock that we can put it together relatively quickly if they work within these, the parameters of the 1.2 megawatt scheme.
Okay. And then for Primus, you guys are targeting like AI data centers primarily for that,
We're
right?
targeting, really any kind of data center, but mostly, the 1.2 megawatt is every new NVIDIA rack is 1.2 megawatts, 800 volts DC, 1.2 megawatts. We read about, at least you read about Anthropic or OpenAI or Colossus in Texas, so these are monstrous projects. We're not involved in any of that. Ours, I don't know if it could turn three chillers on for them, for what they're doing. It's really for either the person putting in a modular data center or the person adding, the business adding, or the university, whatever it is, they have on site. Uh, they have their own stuff, but they want to add one rack of NVIDIA. They want to add two. For whatever the purposes are, the engineering school is expanding and they want more. That's what but they can't get enough power for it. Here's your way immediately in a deployable, even cost-effective way to be able to run those new racks for yourself.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about Power Core. Have you guys officially launched Power Core yet?
We launched Power Core the week before Christmas
Okay.
at our shop in Miami. We have a service shop down there. The team there is pretty, I guess, out of our entire business, the only group that really actually deals with the high-end home builders, the general contractors, and most closely with the electrical contractors. Everything from Indian Creek and Bal Harbor and those kinds of locations that we're more familiar with. Um, and that's the target market. It's for the person with I don't know, call it a, 8,000 square foot plus home. It's expensive. You've put a lot into it. You may or may not have one or two or three or, down there, whatever it is, five electric vehicles. You want to be able to fast charge it. You don't want to share. You want to be able to, charge a Rivian in 20 minutes so that your son-in-law or your daughter's boyfriend can go do his as well. Um, and that's what we're targeting. The only way to give somebody a fast charger is to run it off their gas line, with three-phase power. Otherwise, there's no home, not even, if they'll excuse me, not even Bezos or Bill Gates, is be able to fast charge their vehicles.
Okay. All right. And then it was primarily called Home Boost. So why did you guys switch it over to Power Core? You guys are targeting commercial and residential.
As we kind of did a soft launch during the course of 2025, um, I don't want to say every time, but very, very often, whether it be the dealer or the distributor or the architectural group, immediately their heads turned, well, what about if we want to use it for, an MRI center, a cataracts, an outsourced surgical center. These are people that want 100% resilience. They don't want a backup engine. They don't want to be limited, like with a normal backup. If you buy from Generac, Kohler, or whatever, you're limited theoretically, legally by the number of hours you're allowed to run it a year. They don't want to be limited. Um, and they love the idea of being able to have fast charging, whether they're going to make that a revenue source for themselves, whether they're going to offer it as an accommodation to their clients slash customers and so forth. That's really their business.
Okay. And then have you guys gotten any interest for purchase orders for either Primus or Power Core yet?
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to announce some stuff soon on both, but we're kind of keeping it close until the hard PO's in my hand.
Okay. Okay, perfect. All right. And then for 2025, can you highlight the big contract wins throughout the year?
Yeah, I got to go back. City of Long, I'm trying to think back to what we've announced and whose names we're allowed to use and that we can't use. So, City of Long Beach, were 2 units. A to Z Bus, which is the largest Bluebird school bus distributor on the West Coast of the United States. They started after probably 2 years of hard work by the team with them, getting them ready. Not only did they start, but they're really rolling. There was this large electronic or digital, whatever, online retailer that we can't name, that we had a pilot with them at the end of 24. Had a pilot for more, I don't want to call it pilot, or I guess a second round with them in 25 with a couple more units, and we're really looking for them to, thank God, all of them successful.
Hmm.
Successful means that they don't call me, so I mean everything's great.
Right.
And we're looking for them to step up a lot in 26.
Okay. All right, perfect. So for the full year revenue for 2025, you guys projected 25 to 29 million dollars. Are you guys still on target for that?
We are still on target, yes.
Okay, perfect. And then what are you going to do for the projected revenue for 2026, and then what's your backlog for that?
Right. So we haven't, I don't know what the backlog is today, actually, so I don't want to even guess, because we haven't announced anything since we came out with the third quarter earnings as to what the backlog was. And we expect to go out in the next couple of weeks, with guidance. So I'm gonna wait for that. We're gonna give formal guidance.
Okay.
The only thing I could say, it's gonna be above 25.
Okay. All right, perfect. So and then how do you guys plan on increasing your profit margins?
Yeah, so I mean, the biggest thing is we could stop making so many mistakes. A lot of it is ourselves. As we continue to evolve and push the pedal to the metal and so forth, we hurt ourselves. We got to be smarter about a lot of things. Um, I think the fourth quarter will carry that a little bit. We'll see the trend, towards the positive as far as our gross margins are concerned. And we continue to do that. Um, we're going to have to make a choice, not a choice, but we're going to have to, as we evolve, especially on the charging side, leasing units, long-term leases are much more profitable for us.
Okay.
It reduces revenue short term, but from a margin point of view, are much more profitable. And we're going to have to decide, how much we want to do of each. The money is, we don't have, never-ending sums of funds available to us. Um, so that's part of what's going to be evolving in 26.
Okay. All right, perfect. And ever since I've been an investor in the company, I think the revenue for EBoost when I first started investing was like $3 million or something like that. So you guys 10x the company since I've been an investor. You guys are becoming a big player in the market. What would you say if a bigger player like a Generac or somebody comes in and wants to acquire you guys?
For a fair price, that's what's ever in the best interests of the shareholders. Um, I think, if you've been a shareholder for, as you say, I mean, then you have also received dividend from us too. So we're doing our
Right.
best to return. I don't know how many companies our size, pay out dividends of the size that we paid out.
Yeah, I appreciate that
Massive.
dividend. I got a nice chunk of change for that one.
Right, right. So, and then I guess the hidden gem is really, our 6% stake in Volteras. That's already, as we disclosed, that's already paid. We've already received distribution on that in 25, and we really expect that business continue to grow and to become more valuable.
Okay. And then if somebody did want to come and acquire you guys, I would say don't entertain anything under like $20 a share. What do you say about that?
I don't know. I gotta clone some, I gotta inject some of your buoyancy and optimism.
Well, $20 a share is like $200 million market cap or
Yes.
something like that.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And then you're the largest shareholder of the company, like 25 or 30% you own. How many shares exactly do you own?
It's something over 2 million. I don't remember exactly. I just bought some more.
Okay.
When I'm allowed to, especially when the stock drops below 4, I mean, I can't resist. So I'm a constant buyer.
Okay. Perfect. Is there anything else that we want to talk about before we end the interview?
No, I think that when you remember when we first came out with eBoost, if you've been a shareholder since 22, I mean that was the first full year that we had eBoost. I mean, and
Yeah.
we were ready to do anything to continue to move these units, to do 25 million last year and to continue to grow. I'm sometimes shocked by it, looking back as to, what it was. And now we've got two other kind of big levers, Power Core and Primus. So we're looking to continue to grow really organically. We get a lot of calls about acquisitions, and my history, I'm a serial acquirer.
Okay.
But right now, I don't think that's the best use of cash or stock, for our shareholders, of which, as you pointed out, I'm the biggest one.
Right. Okay. And then yeah, just something that came up to mind. Let's talk about your balance sheet. What's the cash on hand? Are you guys still debt free as well?
Yeah, we're 100% debt free. I mean, 100% debt free. We don't have anything. Um, I think last it was about $15 million of cash.
Okay.
Um, and, you pointed out gross margins. The better the gross margin is, the less the burn is going to be. As we continue to roll out, there is a little bit of a burn. Um, but even if there was none, as we're growing internally. So we're funding everything. And that's great for 26. We'll have to see how that, evolves as far as, funding our growth as 26, as we go deeper in 26.
Okay. Yeah. It's extremely impressive to be on the growth rate that you guys have been, almost 10x growth since I've been an investor for eBoost, and still you're debt free. That's insane.
Yeah, thank you. And we don't have the environment for eBoost is not what it was, 2.5 years ago or even 2 years ago. So even in that environment, that business continues to grow.
Okay. Perfect. Is there anything else that you want to say to the investors before we end it?
Yeah, I would say that you give us a great narrative, like it's like where we're doing, but at the core, at the base, the United States and Canada, we just can't produce enough power for everything that we want to do. So whether it's AI, whether it's robo taxis, whether it's EVTOLs or whatever it is, we cannot get online fast enough. So it's really the market that helps drive what we're doing. We're just sometimes luckier than not lucky is hitting the right applications there.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. So with the launch with the partnership with Savvy Charging, the launch of Power Core and Primus, I think that the time is now for Pioneer in 2026, and I look forward to the future with you guys.
Yeah, we do too. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you for being such a great shareholder.
Thank you so much. You have a great day.
You too. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.